Alright, hello. How's it going, everybody? I'm gonna make sure that my audio levels are okay. It's kind of hard to tell. I think that's fine. Today we're gonna be playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition, which I think just came out today, if I have that correct. Pretty sure it just came out today. The Stanley Parable was a game that was kind of known. I wonder if this has the achievement for not playing. Oh, for 10 years now. Okay. There's an achievement in the original version of the Stanley Parable to not play it in 5 years, and I actually haven't. I could probably get that achievement today if I wanted to. Anyway, the Stanley Parable was originally a game about. It's kind of hard to describe it without spoiling the experience. It's narrative storytelling in a way that hasn't really been done before or since the Stanley Parable. And the Ultra Deluxe version is like apparently a remaster of it, which the Stanley Parable already got a remaster. It used to be like a Half-Life mod, I think, from what I remember, and then it got revamped, and then now with the Ultra Deluxe version, they've added more endings to the game, and they also, I believe, they included VR support. And I was originally gonna get it on a console, but then I realized I have a PC now, and I could just get a VR machine here. So I bought it on PC. Also makes it easy for me to stream. Let's dive right in. This is the first thing you see in the game is subtitles. Oh look, it's kind of dirty, the screen. Have you played the Stanley Parable before? Oh, also, if you do have a copy, for those that do know what this is, if you do own a copy of the original Stanley Parable, it is on sale on Steam for 33% off. So you can actually get it for a little bit less, because it's $24.99 on Steam. Let's just leave it like that. Please enter the current time. Oh boy. Kind of ominous this time around, don't we? Not really usually that many questions at the beginning of this game. I like how the menu is widescreen, but the screen isn't. Anyway, this is the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. I think that I got everything I want out of that little option menu. You even asked me for the subtitles. We're just gonna start. I'm just gonna dive right in. I think we're just gonna dive right in.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Hold on. Just making sure. Get a link sent out. That's not a link. Okay. Anyway, so it doesn't look like it was a remaster from the old remaster. It still looks the same, honestly. But that's fine. It already looked fine back then anyway. It's just that it's a remaster from the original mod version with like the assets. Anyway, I guess it kind of explains the whole premise of the Stanley Parable. It's not a very complicated game. It might sound a little bit too loud, but considering how quiet this game is, I don't really mind it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Huh. Huh. Ooh. Ooh. Sorry. That's less. That's less. Anyway. Computer does not like it. I feel like all these I Hate Mondays cups are new. I know that sounds like a weird thing to point out, but...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
The future was yesterday, tomorrow is now. Get Chris out of the broom... Wait. Push for funding. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Hire someone to synergize papers. Papers are too synergized. Fire the paper guy. Hire somebody to fire the paper synergy guy. Who moved my desks? Rates at which charts on the same slide depict the same information. Rates of increase in graphs per slide. Circle the top 20 things you love most about your boss. Fill out and return to your boss appreciation specialist. Oh boy. Remember, it takes 2 people to start a fight, and right now you're both of them. Talk radio. Alright, let's go. Synergize core value expenditures. Jesus Christ.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh. Maybe it's because I have OBS running. Or maybe this thing, huh? Let's try that, just so that I don't. It's only when I walk inside of a room that it gets really slow.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Okay.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Some portal shit going on here.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Huh. Let's not bother with that right now. I hope this doesn't kill my computer.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Look, there I am. Oh, and look, that is just my empty desk. Wish I could zoom in. There's like a line of, there's a bunch of numbers on that one. Can't read it. Anyway. Oh, there's that one over there. I got an achievement for that, for trying to jump.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
This scene always reminded me of the scene in The Incredibles where Bob finds out all of his friends are dead.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
I beat the game. That's the Stanley Parable. No, it's not. Since boots us up. Before I forget, if you miss any part of the stream, the whole thing's gonna be uploaded on YouTube at youtube.com/Soramoto. Follow me here on Twitch if you wanna be notified of any future streams. I know I haven't been streaming a lot lately, but I definitely want to get back into it, especially this week. I have a lot of time this week, so I just couldn't figure out what game to play. When I'm not streaming 14, I don't know what to stream. But yes, that, and also follow me on Twitter also if you want to DM me about getting into a little game giveaway that I'm planning on doing at some point in the future. The only requirements is you have to be following me here on Twitch, and that's it. Oh look, is the time actually accurate? Is it actually... No, it's not. That says... I don't know why they asked me what time it was. That's not even what time it is. Anyway. So... I don't know if you noticed, but there was a certain way the game was being displayed to us that...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
There was a certain way
Stanley
that
decided to go to the meeting room.
Displayed
Perhaps he had
to
simply
us
missed a memo.
that... Hold on, let me turn the game on just a smidge now. That I might be talking over it. Just a smidge. Right there.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
But what if we didn't?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yeah. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Penalty for misuse, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the lift, $5,000.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Oh shit.
Please. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Wow. The thing stopped before the thing finished loading. Anyway. So the narrator is kind of telling us what to do before we even do them. But what if we didn't listen to the narrator? And that is the entire premise of the Stanley Parable. At its essence, that is the entire core principle of it. And there's so many different ways for you to fuck it up. I wonder if this ending...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Here you go. This one? Can I come over here?
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Are you sick of this gag yet? No.
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones, though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Nothing, huh? Okay. I don't remember that ending like that. But yes, that is one of the endings also. Let's try to go back to that area where we jumped off the thing. I was trying to jump off the
Stanley
railing.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So I've actually gotten a lot of the endings in the original game, but
When Stanley came
they
to
said
a
there
set
were
of
more
2 open
endings
doors,
here.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
And so, I'm
Perhaps he wanted
curious
to
as
stop
to
by
what
the
the
employee lounge first, just to admire it.
what the other one is.
Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
There's actually a way for you to get down here without dying. But I don't remember how. I think you definitely want to land on the balcony and then on one of the trucks or something.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do.
There's something else there.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Also, just playing with controller work. Okay. I think my hand is a bit more
The
comfortable.
lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace? Its subtle charm? No. Stanley knew it was something deeper, something darker. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember that door being open. There has to be a way down there. Can I get on top of this chair? Can I clip myself on top of this chair? No.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone. Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
There's some. Your hat 6 foot. Thank you. It is Jotaro's hat. Looks like. How do I do this? Thank you. It's actually the brim on it is decided to be sideways, and you have to wear it like that. Danger everywhere. We're playing the most exciting game in the world today, known as the Stanley Parable. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm like suspicious of every single piece of geometry in this game now. It's a water though, yeah. Yeah. Thank you. You got it. I'm wearing it because my hair is messy.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
No.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Oh.
There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Yeah, sure, why not? The door's made out of wood.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Worldwide leaderboard. Did you know that 21.3% of players skip the intro sequence? Only the worst 3 players of players chose the blue door. I'm last place, of course I am.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
There's some issue with the audio thing where it
In
keeps
this
cutting off.
game,
Oh no.
the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Alright, I'm over it.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
I remember this one. Here you go. Oh, it loaded up Firewatch.
Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far,
Firewatch is the
everything about
Firewatch.
this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
It loaded up Firewatch. It used to load up Minecraft whenever you did that thing. Okay. This is a game I actually definitely want to play. This game I actually haven't. I think I have a copy of Firewatch somewhere, either on the console or on PC. That's funny. I don't think it looks quite the same as Firewatch. It's running on the Source engine. It's so funny. But yeah, when he said he was gonna boot up a new game, he used to boot up Minecraft.
No, it can't be.
Yeah.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You really wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay.
Oh, there is a crouch
I think
button.
this will be just the thing.
Alright. What is this? Is this Rocket League?
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There
Rocket
isn't any
League.
possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
I wish there was a sprint button. That's the only
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Where? There it is. Thanks. Oh, now I'm running really fast. Thank you. Oh, I can kick it over.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Hold on. What are you doing?
What the fuck? Holy shit.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Uh-oh. Okay, this is entirely new. I don't know. I thought it would just kill me. Please rate your experience. There's nothing down here, huh? Oh! Huh. Uh-oh. Where am I now? Oh, God. This is actually kind of scary. As far as I know, there's no jump scares in this game. What is that? Very portally. Interesting. Nothing down here. Okay.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon.
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. Oh, there it is.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Huh.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Wait a minute.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Aw, man. It's gone. Oh! Huh? Wait a minute. New content? Okay.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Nice. Okay. Finally, some new content.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Uh-huh.
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Uh-huh.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Uh-huh. What's over there? Okay.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Oh. This is...
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
The jump circle.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle?
Ah. Okay. He can only jump inside of the circle. It's a limited amount of jumps too. What the hell? It's not even...
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
I like that it's not even programmed properly. I'm crouching down. It's just counting the amount of A presses you have. Oh.
Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes, I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for enjoying the new content.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore."
Does it
What
actually?
quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. No frills, huh? Wait, I actually want to check. I actually want to check and see if that's true. This is the only game I played where like it will actually like minimize the whole game. Yeah, there is literally test achievement. Please ignore. Replace this, and the icon for it is like a checkerboard like PNG. Okay. Hey, look at that.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Alright. There's a spanner. Does it just take me back to the game? I don't even remember how I got here. Oh, there's literally a door that's new content.
Remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to... Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
What's that up there? What is this?
I call it the Memory Zone.
Uh-huh.
It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Uh-huh. Can I... No. Okay. Uh-huh. Ah, 2013.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable
It's a
was
Steam
before
page.
it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games
And
had
that's a picture of the ending.
Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Cargo Operator's Manual. Uh-huh. Time Magazine. The Stanley Parable. Collector's Edition. Is that really what it looked like? I assume that's what it actually looked like. Yeah, it won a bunch of awards. It won a BAFTA? Awarded to Bruce Straley for The Last of Us. In 2014. Okay. The radio said to 2013. The Memory Zone temp. Uh-huh. Our First Kiss, My Car, the release of the Stanley Parable in 2013. God, this game really did come out that long ago, huh? Linguists identify 15,000-year-old ultra-conserved words. Okay. Galactic Cafe. They're called crows. This is hurting my head. Crows now. This reminds me of a smile because it happened. Reminds me of Edith Finch a little bit. Bits of music. Me first dollar. The fucking achievement, yeah. The old achievement was go outside. This one has a new achievement. It's a super go outside. Don't play it for 10 years, it says. and the unachievable. The only way to get this, I think, is to go through the console commands and give yourself the achievement. It was nominated for some BAFTAs. I guess one. Oh yeah. Game innovation, debut game and story. Huh. It never won any of those awards. New video game releasing today. Creators surprisingly down to earth. What is that? Is that a new ending that I don't know about? In loving memory of little Stanley. Oh. Oh no, is that real? Little ratty. The music.
Je suis dans la mémorisation, c'est sur la pluie des vélos, et je n'attends plus que toi, mon amour. C'est là, dans la mémorisation, où je me
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable
Persona 3.
anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Sorry, I didn't know that song was gonna stop. That didn't sound like a real song. I think it was in French. I can't even tell what language that was supposed to be. Buy it on Steam. Look, there's the Minecraft level. It was good. Oh, and the mystery path ending. Let's see. I don't even recognize that one in the middle right there. Oh yeah, there was a portal map here. Yeah, it was a source mod. That's what it was. I forget which. I should have known. It was on Steam. It's a source mod. Cool. Is that somebody climbing up on top of the desks? The Stanley Parable by the narrator. Is this the model for Stanley? I guess there was a, yeah, it looks like a what do you call it? Like those old PC like Office, whatever. Huh. I kind of want that, actually. I wish I had it.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both
Repeatable
a
carpet
stimulating
texture.
commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Preparing snake oil salesman routine. What? I don't even know if half of these screenshots are from this game. I know for a fact that one is. Oh. There's a bunch of boxes blocking the way. The serious room?
These were simpler times, Stanley. What I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Uh-oh. Oh no. Is this Half-Life?
Oh no. Oh God, no.
Oh,
Stanley,
the Steam
a collection
reviews.
of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's being collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
I like how fucked up it is. Oh no! Honestly, could not be bothered to play this game to full completion in it.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
I like how desolate this place is. Steam reviews. Oh no. Is it the same one? Yeah. Wait, this is... I can hardly read that. Remind me of an old TF2 file. Yeah, it kind of looks a little bit like, yeah. Well, it is using the source engine, so I can imagine that's probably why. But it just, like, the shipping containers reminded me of Half-Life. A game I never played, but it just keeps seeing screenshots of and stuff. I can change the FOV. Ooh. Oh, yes.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
So sad. I wonder, these have to be real reviews from people. Oh boy.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Is that intentional that the audio was skipping the whole time? Can you fall off that? I'm worried I might fall off of this. Oh boy, God.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature... Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's... Well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone.
It's gone.
I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button. And if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here. And more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. Oh, Stanley, you're back.
The thing died.
Back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness.
Oh no.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year.
A year!
I never sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year. Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less.
Oh no. Oh no. He died. He died. You're right. He died. The smoke alarm? What is that? I just want to stop.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demand. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face...
I wonder how long it's been. If the last one he spoke of was a year.
The end is never the end.
Oh no.
Is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Oh no. I wonder if this is just gonna stop at some point. Oh god. Oh, hey. Cool. There may yet be a way out of this room, actually. That's post-apocalyptic. Oh no! What happened now? What's out there? Huh? Ooh, I hate that. Is the skip button broken now? Yeah, it is. It's Mad Max out here. It's Journey. Where's the mountain? Okay. Alright. Okay. Oh no.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
That's the first time I ever heard a voice that is not the narrator. I forget the name of the narrator, but it's not Stephen Fry. I forget who it is, but it is also someone that's pretty famous. Oh no, he's dead. Oh no. Oh no, he's dead. New content? Hey, hot dog.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Uh-huh. Alright. He's still alive. How many years? The entire human existence has ceased and came back around to where we are now. Oh, it skipped the whole. Alright.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Uh-huh. The end is never the end again.
You see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Uh-huh. I love the red. I don't know what it is. Just making your logo red. Already.
Calling it the Stanley
Taste the
Parable 2
sequel.
is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Uh-huh. Huh. I like the new assets. 2. Yes, they're back. 2 doors. New content is out. New content part 2 is in. Old and busted, new hotness. I can't believe that joke. Old and busted and new hotness. Cool red section of the chart. Heck yeah. I like all the different. It's fucking Resident Evil. Thanks for attending my meeting. I like to imagine this was like a real design that they had before. I can imagine. I mean, I feel like the amount of content in this game is already like, this is all new content. I think so far the only old content I've done is me jumping off that thing. Oh no, there's 2 of them.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
The Stanley Parable is the prequel to the Stanley Parable 2, is a sequel to the Stanley Parable. There's a bunch of 2s. Meeting at 2 p.m. Oh, look, it's the crows. Every pause button is the Roman numeral 2. Just the 2 of us, we can... Just the 2 of us. Valued investors, this way to the show floor. Oh, I love that. A bus. Oh, look at that. Expo Hall 2. Wow, look at that. Very impressive.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Merch? Is that really a link to their merch store? Can I... It takes you to the Stanley Parable 2 website. Welcome to the official website of the Stanley Parable 2. A sequel, huh? Watch our helpful, informative videos to learn more about the Stanley Parable, what the journey of becoming a sequel is all about. There's a video. Hold on. Let's look at that. Let's take a look at that. Here we go. This one. Here we go.
Say there, Timmy. What's that you're enjoying? Why, it's breakfast, of course. Everyone loves breakfast. But did you know that breakfast is getting a sequel? That's right. It's called Lunch. And critics are raving that lunch will be everything breakfast was and more. With a little luck, we may even get a trilogy series out of it. Say, you know what a sequel is, don't you, Timmy? Why? Sequels are the world's way of clinging helplessly to the past. We all want more of the things we love, and we're all afraid of change, which is what makes sequels so popular. New ideas are dangerous to me, and they can lead to early aging. This eager-minded young thinker is just 29 years old. That's why we have sequels, to keep us couched in the familiar and the comfortable. Sequels are the bedrock of a healthy, functional society. And if you look around you, you'll find them everywhere you go. For instance, this man is developing a sequel to the automobile, which we'll call the vertical automobile. It's a useless, impractical invention. And in 2 days' time, the man will be publicly stoned to death for his crimes against gravity. Not all sequels are heretical nonsense, however. Here's the man who invented breathing, which is the sequel to suffocating and dying a slow death. Even your parents are getting a sequel, Timmy. Their names are Rob and Jessica, and they'll be taking care of you once your original parents are sent back in time to fight a secret war for the government. Sequels can be very fashionable. This young woman is wearing 5 shirts at once, which is the sequel to wearing 4 shirts at once. Look at Becky over there, wearing only 2 shirts at once. Get with the times, Becky. In fact, there is only one single thing in the world that isn't a sequel. It's this. We don't know what it is or why it exists, but it's the prequel from which all sequels are derived. And just like everything else, the Stanley Parable is getting a sequel too. We all know, of course, that it was your favorite game as a child. Don't you remember those long, lazy afternoons you spent playing the Stanley Parable? Watching your precious youth fritter away hour after hour. We've all wasted our childhoods in one way or another, and you were fortunate enough to get to waste yours on the Stanley Parable. But the Stanley Parable came out years ago, and you're not a child anymore. You're a man, which is like the sequel to a child. And as a man, you want manly things like taxes and cheating at baseball. You need a man's video game, Timmy. And that's why the Stanley Parable 2 will be perfect for you. It's as manly as video games can get. And if you don't believe me, let's look at the burly hunk of a man who's responsible for the game. Here he is, hard at work. His name is Gregory 8-Pack, and he's the cutting picture of raw, virile masculinity. Gregory is what we call the ideas guy, and he has the most important role on the team. The ideas guy tirelessly comes up with interesting concepts and then hands them off to the rest of the developers for the relatively simple job of turning those concepts into reality. For example, he's the one who picked up the phone and declared, "Someone ought to make a sequel to the Stanley Parable." Good work, Gregory. Go ahead and take the rest of the day off. With the hard part out of the way, work on the game can now begin. The game's developers must answer a simple question. What makes a sequel in the first place? Well, it's simple. Sequels are an opportunity to correct the mistakes of their predecessors. We've all made mistakes, and we've all caused harm to someone we love in order to cover up our mistakes. When developing this particular sequel, it's important to start by thinking, what mistakes did the original Stanley Parable make? Well, first off, most of the pornography in the original game was stolen or pirated, and it's time we paid the licensing fees fair and square. Second, the Stanley Parable was catastrophic for this man named Leroy, whose personal information, including home address, social security number, and bank information, were all displayed prominently in multiple locations throughout the game. Although Leroy's money and identity were stolen, the fact remains that his personal information was the emotional core of the game and absolutely vital to a nuanced understanding of the story. As reparation for the harm we caused him, the sequel will contain a brief and insincere apology to Leroy, tucked deep within the game where it will be difficult to find. Finally, the Stanley Parable made the mistake of leaking too many government secrets about the nature of the Time Wars. Without these intricate details of specific military tactics, the story is likely to make very little sense. But we've decided to remove them from the sequel in the interest of helping the state's efforts. We'll get to you yet, Time Dracula. Now then, it's time to set about constructing the Stanley Parable 2. Game development is a difficult and complex art, one which can only be fully understood by this race of hyper-intelligent child soldiers bred in laboratories. They begin by studying the original Stanley Parable. Here it is in its raw, untouched form, a specimen of technological perfection. Time to exploit it for profit. We begin by adding jokes. The Stanley Parable was most widely known for its stark lack of humor, bucking all conventional industry wisdom. It was a bold artist statement that its developers stood firmly behind. But in 2022, it's impossible to reach even a single consumer of video games without jokes of some kind. So very well, jokes it'll be. During its development, over 500 kiloliters of comedy will be funneled directly into the core of the Stanley Parable 2, creating jobs for hundreds of machine operators and producing 30,000 tons of pollutant chemical byproduct, which will be pumped directly into local lakes, rivers, and beautiful nature reserves like these all over the country. Another common complaint of the Stanley Parable is that there wasn't enough gameplay. And so for the sequel, its developers have gone to great lengths to fix this problem. Here we can see gameplay being printed onto sheets. Every video game contains as many as 1,000 sheets of gameplay, and several of the largest games ever made contain close to 1,500. On mobile devices, the gameplay sheets have to be printed smaller. For the Stanley Parable 2, as many as 35 new gameplay sheets are being printed, each of which must be delicately massaged by the hands of a child before being added into the game. This man is stealing gameplay sheets from the factory, which he likely intends to use for a personal project he's been developing in his spare time. A good public stoning will cure him of that inclination. Let's check on Gregory real quick. Ha! Still recovering from a hard day's work. Don't you move a muscle. Next up, it's time to blackmail the press. In a competitive market, blackmailing your local journalist can be one of the most effective methods of creating word-of-mouth buzz for your sequel. In fact, blackmail is the currency of social progress. From your neighborhood grocer to the teacher at your school to the man who helps you steal HBO, everyone responds to blackmail. And if you've never done it before, it's easy to practice at home on your friends and family. Simply follow the instructional pamphlet that your teacher hands out after the end of the film. And finally, there's one last tool at our disposal for making the sequel feel fresh and exciting, and that's packaging the game with collector's edition merchandise. If you order the Stanley Parable 2, you'll receive this cow's egg. A single egg will produce over 1,000 cows, which are, of course, the sequel to pigs. And there you have it. Everything there is to know about producing the Stanley Parable 2. Of course, you may know that there is also a game titled The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. So which game is the true sequel to the Stanley Parable? It's an excellent question, Billy. One which the child soldiers have been working round the clock to come up with an answer to. And after many weeks of diligent research, the conclusion they've reached is, who gives a shit? All that matters is that it's more content for you to cram down your insatiable gullet. You don't want thoughtful and nuanced answers to complex questions, Billy. You just want to eat bubble gum and cheat at hopscotch. So get out there and consume. Do your civic duty and bully your parents into buying you every version of the Stanley Parable 2 on every platform. Tell your friends to bully their parents as well. It's through community efforts like these that the world comes together, in harmony and connection. And it's only through this connection that we'll defeat Time Dracula once and for all. Don't let the time-traveling vampires win. Buy the Stanley Parable 2 and pledge to support all sequels for today, tomorrow, and into the great unknowable beyond.
Oh my god. That was a 10-minute video. That's a Stanley Parable 2. I just noticed this entire time. Oh, by the way, here's a test achievement. Please ignore.